Have you ever wished that you were someone else? That you had made different choices in life and ended up somewhere else? And that your life was different than it is now? Well, I felt that way when I was teaching at the University of Maryland at College Park. And I had just finished listening to this self-help guru tell me that you are the product of the choices that you've made as you've gone through your life. And if you don't like where you are, then make different choices and you'll end up somewhere else. I would make different choices and I would end up somewhere else because I looked at my artwork. I looked at my paintings. All my paintings were these eerie, menacing images of animal conflict with sort of these suburban homes in the distance, like this one called Expulsion. And this is 48 by 66, and it's oil on canvas from about 1983. And here, this one also from about 1984, 40 by 60 inches, called Nocturne. Here we see this animal conflict wrestling in the foreground with the moonlight shining on the clouds up above and these suburban homes off in the distance. And I'm not a disturbing kind of person, but for some reason, I have been given an insight into this facet of the human experience. Or how about this one called Jugular? Boy, talk about animal conflict, animal energy. You know, these are symbolic paintings. They represent human conflicts and human situations symbolized by animals. It sort of represents a certain facet of suburban life. This is what I was known for. Or how about this painting called Nice Doggy, 11 feet high by 8 inches wide. When I showed this painting in New York, someone standing in front of the painting wouldn't even come up to the dog's chin. It was a very menacing painting. There I was, ready to go into my chairman, Jack Burnham's office for my annual evaluation, where you discuss your teaching and your committee work and your position at the university, but Jack didn't want to talk about any of that at all. He wanted to talk about my paintings, about my imagery, and he pointed out that the subjects in my paintings are very closely related to the moon card of the tarot deck. So after my evaluation with Jack Burnham, now you remember Jack Burnham was a major genius. He wrote the book Beyond Modern Sculpture. When I was an art student, we all read this book. He was one of the great geniuses of the time. So I felt honored to be on the faculty with him, and to have him talk to me about my paintings was a real privilege. So that night, I went out to a bookstore and I looked up the moon card. The moon card is a card of deception and illusion, but the imagery is of these dogs howling at the moon with these castle-like structures in the distance. How similar to the paintings I was painting. And there's that crab in the foreground, which is related to the zodiac sign Cancer. Images from, the late 1800s or the late 1700s, from about 150 years earlier. And look at those two dogs howling at the moon with those towers, those castle towers in the distance. And those little water droplets, that's supposed to be the moonlight shining down on those dogs that are howling at the moon. Or how about this one, the dogs howling at the moon with those tower castles in the distance. Or this more contemporary one, where the dogs howling at the moon with the moonlight shining down on them, illuminating the foreground with its yellow light. In the distance, this blue distance, we have these towers. That's an eerie, menacing image. And the moon card is one of the negative images in the tarot deck. I said to myself, Leonard Koziansky, look at the paintings you're making. This one called Man is a Wolf to Man. And this is another large painting, a very threatening, eerie, menacing picture with the snarling dog in the foreground and those suburban homes in the distance. I'm going to make different paintings. I'm tired of making these eerie, menacing, difficult pictures. I want to make happy paintings. I want to make sunny paintings like this Monet. Sunny paintings that put a smile on people's faces. That's the kind of image I want to make. Or how about this one of this home on the Mediterranean? Now there's a sunny, happy image. There's the kind of image that makes you feel warm and puts a smile on your face. That's the kind of painting I'm going to make. So I'm going to make different choices this time. And I went back to that book in the bookstore and looked up the sun card, because the sun card is the opposite of the moon card. The sun card is a positive card, a warm, happy card. And look at this tarot card of the sun. Isn't that a happy image? Or look at this one. And with that sun beaming down on those angelic babies holding the fruit and vegetables. What a happy image. That's the kind of painting I want to make. Or this one with this couple in a garden with flowers and surrounded by this protective wall. Or this one with the child on horseback smiling, protected by a wall with flowers and the sun shining down. That's the imagery I'm going to base my next paintings on. I'm going to make different choices. Or how about this manuscript illumination of this child in this protected enclosure? Actually, that child's supposed to represent the sun. Those people standing around that wall, they represent the planets. And so this is the kind of painting I am going to make. I'm tired of making these moony, difficult, challenging, menacing paintings. I'm going to make different choices. I'm going to be a different kind of artist. I'm going to be an artist like Renoir, who made happy paintings, like this girl with the watering can. I got my children, my 2 boys, and I took them out into the backyard on a sunny day, and I took photographs of them. And I said, these are going to be the subjects of my new painting, my happy painting, my pleasant painting. So I took this photograph of my son Daniel. I made a drawing, a pen and ink drawing, about 8 inches high by 5 inches wide in my sketchbook. I placed the child in this sunlit garden, surrounded by this wall of foliage, and I shoved those angry, conflicted animals back into the distance where they belong. This is the painting I did from that drawing. This is my happy painting, my pleasant painting, my sunny painting, called Sun Garden. It's 72 inches high by 48 inches wide. But when I looked at it, I realized this is not a happy painting at all. In fact, this is one of the eeriest, spookiest paintings I've ever made. I mean, look at that child. Look at that look on his face. What a threatening look that is. Or what's with that gesture of him holding that stick and the stick casting that shadow on his arm? These snarling dogs in the distance. These snarling canines. How about this bird, this raptor, this red raptor screaming as it flies overhead? And red is an angry color. But when we look into the distance, if we look between those gnarly, rough tree trunks, we see this very tranquil suburban home. And so this was my happy painting, my sunny painting. And it ended up being one of the eeriest, spookiest paintings I've ever done. And it's not like I'm an eerie, spooky, menacing kind of person. It's just that for some reason, I've been given an insight into that facet of the human experience. No matter how hard I try to be a different person, a different kind of artist, I am who I am. I'm Leonard Koziansky. And I have the insights into life that I've been given. And no matter what choices I make, I create the kind of paintings that Leonard Koziansky makes. I put this painting at the Willott Gallery in New York, and it sold almost immediately. And I haven't seen it since. So if you happen to see this painting somewhere, please take a picture of it and send it to me. I haven't seen it since. I don't know where it is, and it's one of my favorite paintings. Even though it's one of the more eerie and spooky paintings I've ever done, it's one of the only ones I've ever done of my children, and I really would love to know where it is. I'd love to get better photographs of it. Sun Garden, 72 inches high by 48 inches wide. Another eerie and menacing painting, no matter how hard I try to make it a sunny painting. And I'm the artist Leonard Koziansky, and thank you for watching this video.